What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, and in this video, we're going to be checking out Motorola Moto G Stylus 5G tips, tricks, and hidden features. So let's get started. Now with the Moto G Stylus 5G, by default, we get gesture-based navigation. Now, I know many people do prefer this, but many other people are very familiar with the traditional 3-button Android navigation. So thankfully, if you want to get that back, you can do that here with the Moto G Stylus 5G. So to do this, you're going to pull down the shade, go to the settings, you're going to go up to search, type in nav, and you'll see right there, system navigation. Tap on that, tap on system navigation, and then you'll see right here, by default, we do indeed have gesture navigation enabled. Now I do recommend, if you're not very familiar with this, to give it a try at least, because you might end up actually preferring it. And in addition to that, there's also some other toggles so that you can adjust the sensitivity. But if you do want to get the 3-button navigation, you can access it right here. So once you tap on that, you can see we now have the 3-button Android navigation that I'm sure you're very familiar with. So we can go back, we can go home, and we can go to our recent apps. So that's very awesome. And if you do prefer to go back to the gesture-based navigation, just tap on system navigation again, go to gesture navigation, and then by doing that, you can see we now have gesture navigation with the device. So it really does come down to personal preference as far as which way you want to go. Now moving on, there actually is a dedicated gesture section in the settings that you might not be aware of, and there's actually some really cool things you can do with it. So go to the settings, go to search, type in gesture, and you'll see right there gestures. Tap on that, tap on it again, and you'll see from before system navigation, but I want to show you the other ones that are here. So the first one is that if you want to, you can pull down the notification shade just by swiping down on the fingerprint sensor, but it's not enabled by default. So to enable it, just tap on swipe fingerprint for notifications, and then you'll see from here, to check your notifications, swipe down on the fingerprint sensor on the back of your phone. So we're going to enable that right there. And then now, when I swipe my finger down on the fingerprint sensor, it does pull down the notification shade. So with one swipe here, we can access our quick toggles. And then with the second swipe, we can pull the shade down even further. In addition to that, you can see enabled by default, you can actually double press on the power key to launch the assistant. Now, by doing that, obviously, the assistant is then launched. However, you have some other options as well. So you can tap on that and you can have it do nothing. So if you don't want it to do anything, that's an option. Or you can switch it to launching the camera. So now, after doing that, no matter where you are within the operating system, by double tapping on the power button, you now pull up the camera app. And what's cool about that as well is that Snapchat is actually one of the options here, and it does support other third-party camera apps as well. But if you want to, technically by doing this, you can activate Snapchat instead of the camera. Or if you want to do the camera, that's an option too, and then you can set it to do just once or always. So by double tapping on the power button after making that change, you now pull up the camera app of your liking. Another option here too is to prevent the ringing. So you can see here that basically if you press the power button and the volume up together at the same time, by default it will put the phone on vibrate. Okay, it's now on vibrate. You can see the icon in the corner. And unfortunately, if you press on it a second time, it doesn't take vibrate away. But to take it away, you just tap on the volume up one time, and then you'll see right there the vibrate icon. Tap on that. It's now on silent. Tap on it one more time, and you now have your ringtone back. Or if you want it just to go directly to mute, you can tap on that. And then now when you do the volume up and power button at the same time, it puts the phone on mute. Here's another one I want to show you. This is called 3-finger screenshot. So basically, this is enabled by default, but you might not be aware that it is enabled. But basically, to capture a screenshot, touch and hold anywhere on the screen with 3 of your fingertips spread slightly apart. So we'll give that a try. There we go, I took a screenshot, there it is in the corner. Then from there, we have some editing options. You can share it as well or just delete it. Another way to take a screenshot is to hold the volume down and power button for a second here. There we go, we took it again. So it's pretty cool that we do have multiple methods for taking a screenshot here on the Moto G Stylus 5G. Here's another one, it's called Fast Flashlight. So essentially you can turn the flashlight on or off with 2 chopping motions. There we go, flashlight's on. Flashlight's now off. We also have quick capture, so twist your wrist quickly to open the camera anytime. There we go, camera's now open, or at least it wants me to pick an app for that. I can do again, either the main camera app or Snapchat. And there we go, we're now into the camera. And then finally we have swipe to split. So this is off by default. Let me enable that right now. So we're now on a web page here. There we go, I swiped it. So you can see it did split the app, it's up there up top. Then from here, I can now choose another application. We'll go with that one. And you can see now it has the web page up top and then the Motorola app on the bottom. So I can then further adjust this if I want to, or if I want to go back to full screen for either of these apps, I can pull the bar in the middle either direction. So that's kind of interesting and could come in handy if you do find yourself wanting to use the split screen feature quite often. Now with the Moto G Stylus 5G, by default, we don't get a battery percentage in the corner of the phone. Now I personally prefer to have that because I like to know the exact percentage that the phone is set at all times. So let me now show you how to enable that. So pull down the shade, go to the settings, go to search, type in battery. You'll see it right there, battery percentage. And then now, no matter where you go throughout the operating system, the percentage will always be there in the upper right corner. So that definitely comes in handy. And also, while you're here in the battery section, we have some other options as well. So one of them is battery saver mode. You can enable that if you want to automatically. You can also set a schedule, and you can also have it set to turn off if you're recharging your phone and it reaches a certain percentage. The device also has an adaptive battery mode, which is enabled by default, but essentially to extend battery life, adaptive battery limits battery for infrequently used apps, and your phone will learn how to use your apps over time. So again, that is enabled by default, but if you want to disable it, you have that ability. And they also give you some interesting information for the screen usage since the last full charge. There's also optimized charging, which is pretty interesting as well. You can enable that too if you want to keep your battery as healthy as possible. And then there's also overcharge protection. So you can limit charging when your device has been plugged in continuously for 3 days. So a lot of little things here that could potentially make a big difference when it comes to your experience with using the phone. Now in general, with Moto G Stylus 5G, I am a fan of the default keyboard. It's pretty much the default Google keyboard anyway, so you're gonna find this on many other Android phones. But you probably noticed though that the number keys are merged in with the letter keys. Now obviously you can go in the corner here and access dedicated number keys, but if you always want the keys to be there up top, let me show you how to do that. So go to the gear here on the keyboard. You're then gonna go to preferences, and then you'll see up top here number row. So enable number row. And then now, when you go back, you'll see here that we now have a dedicated number row. So I think that's very useful and definitely something that I'd recommend that everybody do to make it even a little bit easier to use your phone. And then for the final part of this video, I do want to show you some various display settings that you might want to customize when you get the device. So to access this, pull down the shade, go to the gear. You're then going to see display, go to advanced, and then you'll see screen timeout. Now by default, I believe screen timeout is set to 30 seconds. However, what I'd recommend doing is trying some different screen timeout times here. I know that for some people they prefer 2 minutes, for example, or even 5 minutes. I set it to 30 minutes because I've been making a lot of videos about this phone. But in general, I personally prefer 2 minutes. And then also while you're over here, you can adjust the dark theme if you want to, so you can make everything way darker. This especially comes in handy if you're someone that likes to use your phone at night, and especially maybe you're in the movie theater and you want to check a quick text on your phone or something like that, then switching to dark theme definitely will make that easier. There's also some other adjustments here as well, like font size. If you want the font to be bigger, you can do that, or even make it smaller. You can change the display size in general if you want everything just to be bigger. You have that customization too. And there's really just a bunch of stuff here that I'm sure you're going to want to go through and really customize so that it fits your needs. But I hope you enjoyed these various tips, tricks, and hidden features for the new Motorola Moto G Stylus 5G. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. But this is Kevin here, and I will see you in the next video.